Hello, viewers. Young lords and learners, welcome to this session. I am going to talk about A Tale of a Dove by Jonathan Swift. His religious views of Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift was a great author of England of his time. He was a famous satirist. He was a great moralist. His views on religion is implicit in A Tale of a Dove. Now let me discuss his views on religion in A Tale of a Dove. Moral and spiritual. Generally, people become priests when they think that their mission in life is to bring about the spiritual enlightenment of mankind. Swift, however, did not join the church due to any spiritual consideration. He did not believe in a spiritual insight. In fact, he was suspicious of those who talked of religious inspirations. Swift was a moralist and he became a clergyman because he thought that in this way he would be able to improve the morals and manners of his countrymen. Swift saw that the people were all depraved and corrupt, and he felt that religion was needed to add sanctity to a system of morality. He thought that the profession of a clergyman would be a good profession for him because by his preaching he would make the people of his district region better than what they were before. Not a theologian. Swift was not a theologian. He did not participate in any religious controversy. He believed that the mysteries of Christianity would not be understood by a process of reasoning. They had to be believed. As such, he was a man of untroubled faith. He was convinced that the principles of Christianity were based on reason and nature. So he did not think it necessary to argue about their simple principles. Advancement of religion and morality. In 1709, Swift wrote a proposal for the advancement of religion and morality. Swift begins with a conviction that the nation was extremely corrupted in religion and morals. The worst thing was that those holding public offices had become extremely corrupt and immoral. Swift's remedy was that a public office should be given to person only if he passed two tests. Number one, sacramental test. He must state on oath that he had a firm faith in the Church of England. Number 2, a moral test. He should be a man who has always believed in a decent and honest manner. Swift was in favor of giving liberty of conscience and belief to every individual. He was therefore not in favor of persecuting either the Roman Catholics or the dissenters, but he was firm that a person who did not believe in the Church of England must not get any public office. The King of Brobdingnag said that he knew no religion why those who entertain opinions prejudicial to the public should be obliged to change or should not be obliged to conceal them. Supremacy of the Anglican Church. The supremacy of the Anglican Church was an article of faith with Swift. One of the Whig ministers, Godolphin, wanted that all the Protestants, whether they believed in the Church of England or not, should be united together. He therefore asked Swift and the Irish clergy to agree to the repeal of the Test Act. The result of this would have been that everyone, whether he was a believer in the Church of England or was a Presbyterian or a dissenter, would have become eligible for a public office. Swift firmly rejected this suggestion. This annoyed the Whigs and jeopardized Swift's chances of advancement in life. But Swift was prepared to make any sacrifice to uphold the supremacy of the Anglican Church. Swift always stood for the privileges and the prosperity of the Church of England. He fought against the powerful bishops when they wanted to crush the lower clergy. Effect on Swift. The study of the writings of Christian divines added to Swift's pessimism and misanthropy. These writers had always painted man as a creature of passion and pride who was in redemption through religion. This became the centerpiece of the whole conception of human nature. It is human pride that he assails in all his writings, particularly in Gulliver's Travels. Conclusion. Stanley Lane Poole has summed up Swift's position as a churchman in the following words. Swift was before all things a churchman, but his thorough contempt for abstract thought as for abstract politics made him rather a believer in a practically efficient church, the guardian of the order and morals, than in any very spiritual institution. He was a staunch upholder of church and state because his general contempt of mankind at large convinced him that they were about as good for flying as for thinking, and therefore needed authorized and qualified divines to their theology for them. Thus, we find that Jonathan Swift was religious at bottom. He was not against religion. He wanted to improve people through religion and the state. That's all.